And we thank you for the beautiful weather that you've blessed us with. We ask you, Lord, to guide the decisions that we make, and we just ask your protection upon those who are serving our country. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
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 Sir. Max Jordan.
Here.
E.O. Smith.
Here.
Bill Anglin.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Joe Bird. Sean Crittenden.
Here.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield.
Honey.
Dick Lay.
Honey.
Mike Shambaugh. Mary Bakershaw.
Honey.
Janice Taylor. Here. Victoria Vasquez.
Honey.
David Walkingstick. Brian Warner. We do have a quorum.
You have your minutes in front of you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Management Resources. Mr. Davis is not here. Moore's gonna take it.
He just left a while ago and asked if I'd sit in and take any questions y'all might have, and we'll try to answer them or get you answers.
Let's do it.
Any questions?
I had one. Oh, sorry.
That's fine. Go right ahead.
I had one. On the pavilion,
Yes, ma'am.
it says the groove roofing install. Is that the one that we paid $500,000 for? Is it that pavilion?
I do not know the price of it. C&B is doing that.
Okay,
Can't tell you the price for sure.
okay. Would you please ask Mr. Davis that I
Yes.
inquired about that, if that's the same pavilion? I guess my question is, if we paid $500,000, why are we doing it? And why are you doing the work instead of,
I'm not.
okay.
C&B, whenever C&B does stuff here in our capital, a lot of times we just try to, go look and be a part of it so that we usually could answer your questions that you might have for that. But we're here every day, they're not, so we kind of just go and oversee safety and stuff like that for them.
Well, I was just curious if this is that pavilion.
Yes, well, that's the pavilion that you see pictures of. Yeah.
Tori. Go ahead.
Thanks, sir. Yes. Just wanted to thank Bruce and all the people that came to Bonita and set up my Bonita Lake Park community meeting last month. It was wonderful. The guys were great. It was a crazy, windy, cold day, and whatever we needed to do, they did it very well and happily. And then also, last Friday, we had a ribbon cutting for 11 homes. Same thing. We had a big tent, a fish fry, and it all just went great. And so pass along my thanks.
I sure will, because I know this is a very busy time of the year for our facilities people. Tents, parades, they try to mow too during that, so it's real busy for
We
them.
appreciate you.
Thank you, I'll let them know that, because they really appreciate that.
Carly.
Dave, we've had discussions and talks in here about Sallisaw Clinic and also Mankiller Clinic, about the mold problems that we've had in there. And do you know who the contractor was that originally built Sallisaw Clinic?
Originally, no,
What about the Mankiller Clinic? You remember who
I think
the
that was
Flint Cove? Well, I guess what I'm getting at is who's responsible for those things to happen? Is it the designer? Is it the contractor? I mean, Cherokee Nation has been out millions of dollars because of contractors or designers that done those. And my other question is, why are we still hiring those same contractors and same designers? I'd like to know who the designer was on those clinics and who the contractors were for the next meeting, because it's getting to be to the point to where we just go back and hire the same contractor every time. And it's not only those clinics, it's the roads. We've got a contractor that's over a year in liquidated damages on road, and it gets a little aggravating to me that we can't hire the same contractor, do the same job, you have the same problems. Now, if it's the same contractor that did Sallisaw, that did Mankiller, somebody's not doing their job here in the Cherokee Nation, and I'm not blaming you, Dave, but we need to be aware of this stuff, just like our roads program. We're just sitting here paying money, and our Indian folks suffer. That's what I'm talking about. Indian folks suffer because they can't drive over the road like they should, can't use the clinic like they should. but we still pay the contractor to go back in there and do $1 million worth of renovation to do it. So I'm just a little aggravated that we see the same contractor coming in and getting same job. Somebody should have caught that stuff down there. That was just poor design as far as I'm concerned about ventilation to get the mold in there. Not keeping water out of the building, what it was, but anyway, if you get me those
Yeah, I
names,
sure
I'd
will.
just like to know
Yeah.
who those contractors and who designed those things.
Sure will.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
John?
Yeah. Sir, I was thinking this morning about a community meeting. So do we have access to tents? What I'm hearing? For our community meeting?
I can't answer that one, about a community meeting. I know we have a few tents, but it's been weather and manpower on setting them up is pretty tough. I can't answer that one right
A
out.
one-time community meeting I had at the park because we just opened at Bonita Park at the lake, and we decided we wanted to have an outdoor event, and they were able to put the tent up for us. Probably wouldn't want to do it
I
every
mean,
week, but I don't know.
I think, who has those
Got to do it
tents?
16 more times though, right? So you do have access in a pinch?
Yes, I would say, yeah, but, Anna Knight's over that. And there's supposed to be a deposit or something. I'm not exactly sure on how that's done. That's not, I mean, it's not something my department does. I just sort of familiar with it. It gets done occasionally, I do know that.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dick?
Thank you, correct. And this is not on you, but what Harley mentioned about the mold and stuff that keeps happening to us. And I think it may be in one of our new clinics that we've got a preliminary problem. We've got a preliminary problem. I think they're trying to take care of it. But do you know who does after everybody leaves and goes home, the contractor off the hook after that year, I believe it is that right, Harley?
Yeah.
Then who takes care of the health clinics? It's not you guys, but I think, is it health itself?
Yes, they have a facilities management team.
And some of these problems seem to me to be, folks who design these clinics. And maybe the design people and the construction people there's a lot of meetings. It doesn't seem like it's possible. They can't get together and figure it out. But there was a design flaw at Oshaleta, and they're pumping concrete under the floor now. And to preclude ever having mold. And so they had to slope the drive one direction or the walkway, I think it was. And some other issues about where the water flowed off the roof. You remember those rain chains?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them.
When I saw them, I said, that won't work here, because when it rains here, man, it comes a gully washer. And that exactly is what happened. And some of these architects, the architectural firms are the ones that sometimes don't fully realize where they're at or what they're doing. But we seem to keep using them over and over again. And if the contractors are smart enough to take a look at something and say, I don't think that's going to work, shouldn't that have entered into it?
Yeah, they should speak up. A lot of the, the water issues, I see a lot of the issues with our clinics and, well, buildings in general. They're trying to make things so ADA accessible. They're building, a lot of buildings just almost flat, down to the ground level, so, wheelchair patients or people don't have to go up ramps. And you see more of that today than you used to see. Used to, all your federal buildings and stuff like that were built way up, huge steps up to them, big ramp system up to them. But it seems like nowadays, they take into consideration more of that ADA accessibility. That's just my take on it, but.
This particular problem wasn't because of any ADA.
No, I'm just saying,
It was-
yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a slow ramp that should be,
Yeah.
and it should be. But I think we need to talk to health. We had them in here just a few minutes ago, and we didn't get to that, but if their folks are in charge of now going back and looking to see to make sure that these things don't happen in the future, as well as repairing them now. And
Yeah.
they've got, if they're a repair, they've got to contract it out. They can't do it themselves. We don't have enough guys, I don't think, to do it.
Majority of it,
Yeah.
yes, you're right.
And so the contractor you select after the fact has to have a good understanding of the problem to begin with.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it was the design and architectural firm. In my opinion, what I've seen, that caused the problem in the first place. But here again, these contractors have been building our buildings for decades. And they know what they're looking at. And so if during all these many meetings, I know I've attended probably 20 or 30 of them, it seemed like, for one clinic, that didn't come out in the wash, I don't understand why it didn't. And you guys were there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying we're doing something wrong, but we need to have a little more influence on what's going on with particularly mold, because that's caused this tribe a lot of problems. And we had to totally take down Redbird and rebuild it from under the ground, not the ground up,
Yes.
under the ground. And when I saw what had happened and realized that water was flooding right under the building, that had to be some sort of a design problem, but the guys putting it up, the contractor couldn't see that himself.
I was way back, but I mean,
You weren't there, and I
There's-
wasn't there, but, you don't
There's a lot
have
of
to be too
safe-
smart to see that.
yeah, there's a lot of safety valves that they put in place that did not work. I say a lot, there were some that did not work. Crawl space, they've been building homes and buildings for years with crawl spaces, but that, for some reason, just didn't work. And then with all the floor penetrations that were in that building, that allowed the mold to get up in the walls that weren't sealed off good. Some of the materials they're using nowadays are a whole lot better. The ephes that they used to use, now they use a drainable, which if water gets behind it, it'll drain out. Used to, they just put it up on the wall. So they're making progress, but I do understand what you're talking
But
about.
with the CDC and Stillwell,
Yes,
we've got a problem now.
yes, and
When I
we're,
heard what the problem was, I couldn't believe what they had done. And I still can't hardly believe it, so I guess I won't talk about it, but anyway. If they did what I've heard has happened, it was just, you just don't build things.
and they are in the process of correcting that.
There's a lawsuit, and there's a lot of hollering, and there's,
They finally agreed to, they've got a plan of action in place, hopefully to start soon on remediation.
it's almost like we need a summit with Cherokee Nation, with all the buildings we've had problems with. It's just incredible that we just keep having problems. Harley said the same people do the same thing over and over. Thank you.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes, I saw here where you helped the Cherokee Phoenix move. Where's their new location?
No idea. They just moved some offices, I think, didn't
I'm trying to recall where we moved.
they?
It just said here Cherokee Phoenix move, you all accomplished that, and I was just wondering where they moved to.
Probably just some offices, more than likely, but I will check.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Rick. Hey, Dave,
Yes, sir.
have you guys made a decision on the old Jack Brown buildings there on Sequoia campus?
Not to my
That's what it
knowledge,
is.
no.
Okay. The other question is we got the construction of the new casino here in Tahlequah. The plan was a while back that we was going to move the immersion school into the existing casino. So is that still happening?
I don't know the total plan on that yet, of who's moving in it.
Okay. What I heard, and you might be able to clear this up, is that once that casino is vacated, they're gonna be tearing the casino down because it's not feasible. There's all the smoke, they can't get the smoke out of the walls and the materials in the old casino.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Okay.
I mean,
So okay. Well, if you would, just,
Yeah.
just keep us posted on
sure will.
usage of that building. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore? Yes.
Got any new calves hitting the ground up at the Buffalo?
Just looked at that. Oh, they just gave us a head count, didn't they? I don't know, but I'll check. I saw a head count in there. And,
Of that 98, that wouldn't really be,
just the head count's all I saw. But I'll check on that.
I just wondering, no big.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you've, I have got a couple things. It's my understanding that there's some land that is for sale just west of us, just maybe borders some of our land by the powwow grounds. That would be something that probably would be good to look into. It would probably be a good, yeah, that would be a very good piece of property to have if you could look into that. And secondly, I don't know if you've heard, but I read on the internet the other day that there was, one of the tribes is selling their buffalo or their bison. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I guess they have a drought out toward the Panhandle, and I guess this Friday is maybe the last day for it. I don't know if we're in the,
That was an auction or something.
yeah, they're auctioning their bison off. I mean, if we had any place to put them, we might be able to get some cheap buffalo.
I don't know what kind they are. I mean, if they're a different,
Yeah.
species of bison. I did see, I can't remember if it was a tribe or.
Yeah, it was one of the tribes, I don't remember either, but just bringing that to your attention. Not that we want cheap buffalo.
Any other questions for Mr. Moore, David?
Dave, in health earlier, saw that the council was discussing about some wellness centers in the different communities. And Councilman Shambaugh mentioned the old Spavinall School, is that right? On a facility of a possible wellness center. And me and Speaker Byrd, we went and visited Redbird, and we did a tour and we looked at the wellness center. It gets used quite a bit. The problem is it's not very large, and we talk about wellness and prevention. It'd be great if we could have a model of Marcoma in every district. And I don't know what the cost would be, or buying existing facilities to go that route, but I don't know. You're probably not the person we need to talk to about purchasing a Spavinall building. We talked about purchasing land a while ago, and I don't know. Is that just kind of something like a resolution or something that this council could put together and say, we want to purchase this property for this use or what it is? But I guess we could talk to Chief as well and see what his thoughts is on it. But I don't know. Can you check into that Spavinall building? May be a good first location to look into, of possibly going down this road and maybe seeing if there's a cost or if they're selling it. Do you know if they're selling that, Councilman?
I have no idea, I just know it's abandoned and there's a lot of room in different spaces.
I could ask the question.
If you
Town of
would.
Spavinall owns it, they own it.
What's that?
Town of Spavinall owns the building.
The town of Spavinall owns the building. Okay. But we'll visit with Dr. Grimm on that. Maybe some kind of lease agreement might have to take place or something.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Did a good job. Real estate services. Will Bean.
Good afternoon, guys. Ginger is not here, and I'm Hopefully not gonna get as many questions as David did, but I'll answer anything we can, and if not, I'll write it down and get back with you guys.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Rock fence property. You guys discussed that anymore?
Yes, I turned it over to our folks who look at the property, and it's just one of those
Waiting deal.
wait
Well,
and
it's a
see.
pretty place. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I kind of like it myself too.
I got hopes for that deal.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Thank you.
Ms. Taylor?
I don't have a question. I just want to pass this on to Ginger. I was visiting with a constituent last week, and they had a long-standing, one of those things where it was allotment land, and through the years, nothing had been done and everything. And they had been trying to get it updated so that the grandkids could do something with it, couldn't get anywhere. And they said Ginger took it over, and within like 5 days, she had everything ready to go, and they were very appreciative. So please
Okay.
take that back to her.
I will. All right. Thank you.
Harley?
Joel, I got a couple of questions here.
Yes, sir.
First, I see there's 7 pieces of property going from fee to the trust application. Those are probably MH houses, do you think? Do you know?
Some of them, no. A lot of them would be properties that the tribe has now that we're trying to get put into trust.
Okay. Now, the other question is, there's a restricted property in jail. The older people that owned it have passed away. The people that live next door have got everything on that property. It bothers me that people just start putting carport up on it, putting a trailer house on it, stacking materials, yard sale stuff on the thing. And these were older people who've been in jail for all their lives, and both of them are gone now. But is there anything that we can do about it, or trespass, or?
We can attempt to tell them to get it off. I mean, we basically need someone to come and let us know, like you're telling us
Yeah.
now. We can post it. We can, send a letter to whoever, and tell them they're in a state of trespass. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna listen to us. And our next step would be to contact the Marshal Service, and then it would have to go from there.
Well, the thing of it is, I was even hesitant to even bring it up because maybe it's a trade-off. They do kind of keep it clean, keep it mowed, and stuff is kind of organized on the property, but it just bothers me that they take advantage of people like that. And if we're not here to try to help protect them, and that's going to happen, before you know it, they'll put a fence around it, and then it's gone.
Yeah, then they're going to claim it. I mean, they could possibly claim it anyway. I mean, it's kind of a.
Well, that's my concern. They got stuff stored on the thing now and everything like that, so.
Yeah, if you find out where it is, and just let us know, and we'll go check it out for sure.
Okay, well, it just kind of bothers me that people like that, these are both full-blood Indians.
Right.
There's unrestricted land, and people live next door, just, I don't know. I feel like they just more or less take advantage of the situation, and nobody there to help those people.
Kind of the history of our
Yeah.
restricted land there. It's just
But I guess the other question is, Joel, if they went in there and fenced that restricted land and let it go for 7 or how many years it is, then they could actually own that property.
right. They could file a quiet title on it.
Is it the same thing if they have stuff stored on the land? I mean, would that count as?
That's all up to determination of the judge. I mean, they say 15 years is adverse possession, but we've seen cases go, 4 or 5 years, and they, so that would be up to a judge to make the determination. But I would think you'd have to do more than just, store something on there.
Well, it bothers me that this happens because I don't think this person's had any family left. And
Yeah.
what I'd like to see at some point in time is for the nation to try to get those properties and keep them in restricted status. So
Right.
I'll get back. I'll give you the name and the location.
And I think that was part of that, the initiative when they started the land buyback a few years ago, and then Cherokee Nation, the 5 civilized tribes kind of really got left out of that situation, and it was unfortunate. But
And I know a lot of those restricted pieces of property, because we went out and actually flagged all those restricted property years ago. Some of them are in areas that don't have access to, and nobody ever really wants, and I don't see them benefiting the Cherokee Nation at all either, so I guess it's a matter of doing a feasibility study to see if you really want them, so.
Right.
So I know there's things like that, but I'll get you the name and
Okay,
location.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Harley, where's that at?
Right over there by the city park.
That's 4th and Monroe then?
I think
Southeast corner? Southeast corner of
corner,
Monroe
yeah.
then, okay.
I
I know where you're talking about.
Cheater, Jim Cheater used to
Okay,
keep the
yeah.
property on that. But I'll get you the name and
All right.
location.
It'd be on the southeast corner of 4th Street and Monroe Street.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Good.
Thanks, sir. You did good.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Environmental programs, Mr. Elkins.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. How are you? You have a copy of our report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I don't know what I can do to elaborate on them. They all look great. No, if you look, I always refer to this, the front page has things that are just numerical things that we've got this many of percent done, this many percent done, this many. And some of those are a little misleading. Like it says radon activity, we've got 8%. Well, that's because we've had that much demand for it. And then other things, we've got 90% on mold, and apparently we have mold in certain areas. So they've done a lot of mold inspections. But those are pretty much reflected by the requests that are given to the environmental programs. And then the rest of the report is just highlights of each area that the folks have done. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take those and get back to you.
Questions? Oh, you done good.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Good job, Tom.
Absolutely.
Secretary of Natural Resources, Sarah Hill.
Good.
Good afternoon. So we had our environmental festival on April 27th, and we want to thank Councilwoman Taylor for joining us for the environmental festival. It was we've had nice weather, I think of the last 7 years that we've held that event, and this time it was beautiful. There was great weather, and the kids could get outside and run around and look at exhibits and look at the big boats that GRDA brought down, so they really enjoyed that. It's much easier to wrangle kids that age when they have a little place to go outside and burn some of that energy off. So it was a really good event, and we were very happy to have such good attendance. The Arbor Day event, we usually hold that at the Environmental Festival, but because we had so many children this time, we went ahead and held it at the complex. We had 1,150 trees to give away, and we had planned to have 2 different giveaways. Well, they were completely out the first day. We had a huge line of people, so we gave out all of the trees. There was very quickly gone. The seed distribution is going extremely well. We usually have between 2,000 and 2,500 seed packets that go out, and we've had almost 5,000 this time. The demand is always there, but the seeds aren't always there because so much of that depends upon Mother Nature and how things go in the garden. And we have some master gardeners at the Native Seed Garden, so we have had a lot of seeds this year. So it's a great compliment to them that we've had such good luck this year. We will be hosting a session of the Conservation Leadership class at Cherokee Nation, probably the week of August 20th. The leadership class was selected by the Oklahoma Association of Conservation Districts. And I want to thank Councilman Austin for helping us make that connection to that group of people. So they'll be coming to Tahlequah. They wanted to learn a little bit more about agriculture and a little bit more about water quality. And these are folks from all over Oklahoma who are sort of getting a more regional view of agriculture. So we're happy to host them that week. The EPA has chosen Cherokee Nation to develop a conference about lead in Indian country, which is a big problem all over the United States and something that our office has been taking a leadership role in, and you'll be hearing more about that as time goes on. But this conference, we got an additional $25,000 to host the event, and it'll be in October at the Hard Rock. So this is one of the many instances where our environmental programs group are training other tribes because of the many professionals that we have. One of our big victories in the last week was there was a new cell phone tower that was scheduled to be placed really close to Saline Courthouse. It would have been visible from the courthouse and really been a detriment to the view at Saline Courthouse. And thanks to the work of Elizabeth Toombs and Pat Nguyen, they were able to negotiate, and they got that tower moved up to north of Highway 33, so will not be visible from Saline Courthouse. So we were very happy about that. They've also been working on the roadway improvements out by the Sequoia Cemetery Road, or the Cemetery Road in Sequoia County. There's some historical properties over there, and so Liz has been out at all of the meetings, and she'll be on site for all of the construction to be sure that none of the historic properties are adversely impacted by that. But the road needs the work, I know. The other big issue is the Illinois River. There's so much going on with the Illinois River right now. The EPA has released their big TMDL model, which helps you model how pollutants are going to affect water quality in the watershed. OWRB has been having what they call stakeholder meetings to talk to recreation, agriculture, municipal water supply, and environmental groups about what the in-stream flow should be, which is how much water needs to be in the river for fish and for recreation. And they've been doing a model study on Illinois to see, because right now there's no part of Oklahoma law that protects water for fish or for recreation. It only deals with water in terms of what its uses are to industry and to other folks. So this is a model that they're looking at, trying to see how can we put together how much water is needed in the Illinois, how do we protect that water for recreation and for environmental reasons. So we've been working with OWRB on that project as well to help get a better sense of what the water area might demand, because it's a unique watershed. So those are some of the high points of what we've been up to in the last month, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can.
Sarah, what's going on out at the landfill? Have we got the sale started, or?
We've got the bidder has been selected, and so we're finalizing the paperwork now. There's been no construction started out there yet. We had to go back and bid the whole thing out through a very formal process, and that process has just concluded. So hopefully that will start very quickly. We're making progress on it.
Any other questions? Bill?
On the Illinois River, is there gonna be any public meetings?
They are going to have public meetings. They're having their stakeholder meetings now. They're still in the middle of putting the data together and helping the different groups look at the data in different ways, but there will be public meetings. And I'll let you guys know when those are up. This is a process that OWRB is doing. So this is their process. It's something that they said in the state water plan, that they acknowledged a need for some of the scenic rivers to have better protections, but there's nothing in the law to do that. So instead of trying to, because there's lots of arguing, of course, about, well, if you take water away for environmental reasons, you're not going to be able to use it for agriculture, and what's that going to mean for other people in the community? So there's a lot of conflicting stakeholders in that. So OWRB is trying to work through a better process. So I will keep you guys informed about that.
Right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. Same topic there. I've been in contact with Jerry Henry. His daughter goes to Carl Albert. He's on the wildlife department. He's a game warden. And he gave me a contact. I don't know if you've talked to Jim Burrows. And he was somebody that, their major concern is that water for that they put the trout in there every year, and that like you stated exactly like Jerry told me, and he'd give me a contact for Jim. I can share that contact. I don't know if that's...
I'm almost 100% sure I've spoken to Jim Burrows. It's
Okay.
Burrough.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I know that I've spoken with him, although I can't remember off the top of my head
Right. Okay.
what part of the
Well,
universe he was dealing with, but we've definitely been involved in that, and I know that they're particularly sensitive, especially in the summer when the water gets
Yes.
down and the heat cranks up. They're really a sensitive species, and they don't like those conditions. So
Right.
that's something that we've definitely been talking about too.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Old business. Mr. Shinbaugh, take that.
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing the placement of land in trust, Beck's Mill, 39.2 acres in Delaware County. I put that in the form of a motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. New business, none pending. Announcements? Any announcements?
Motion to adjourn.
Need a second? All in favor? All opposed? We are adjourned.
I'm not a sponsor on that.